Welcome to the Guitar Channel. I'm super happy to welcome you. A new interview live from Montreal. Here I am with Mike Moreno. Mike, how are you doing today?
It's hot today, but I'm good. Yeah. No, I'm good.
You just arrived from New York, or were you playing elsewhere yesterday?
We're just coming in from New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time we talked, I think it was here already in Montreal, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you at NAMM in January, but we didn't get a chance to say hello. But I think I kind of waved, or we saw each other in passing. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next time we'll do something else in Los Angeles. So tell me, what's new since 2017 for you?
Since 2017, wow. I think I can't remember if the last time we spoke I had just released a trio album. Maybe it came out right after we spoke. But I released a trio album with Kendrick Scott on drums and Doug Weiss on bass. Playing all standards. And I started another group. It's an electric group, so electric bass, all keyboards. I'm of course playing electric guitar, but so that's a new quartet that I have. I've been writing music for that, and just touring with a lot with Jochen Ruckert, some with my band, a lot with Kendrick. We just released a new album on Blue Note. It's called A Wall Becomes a Bridge. Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of touring around that in Asia and in the U.S. And so yeah, this summer it's just starting. So after this, I go to Europe, and then I go to Asia, then do Newport Jazz Festival, and then back to Europe. So yeah, July and August are busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Busy summer for Mike.
Yeah. Thank God, because I need it. Yeah.
It was a pleasure to see the soundcheck. It's always a precious moment because I get to be there, and it's like you guys are just playing for me, basically. So yeah. How was the soundcheck for you? Was it good?
It was a pretty painless soundcheck. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what's and it's quick, and this is a small club, so it can only go so wrong. So we either accept what it is and get through it, or in a big concert hall it's a little bit different and more complicated because a lot can be fixed. It just takes some time. Yeah.
Do you have some secret recipes you use every night to get your sound?
No, I carry a lot of stuff with me. I have a preamp that I travel with. I have always have my pedal board. I always have the Marchione guitar. And other than that, just that's as much as I can control it. I wish I could take my own amps on the road, but I can't. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that preamp. Is that your secret weapon?
Sort of. It's. It doesn't perform miracles, but it definitely, definitely has saved me in some situations where either the amp wasn't working at all, where you can just bypass the preamp there and then just use the speaker, and I just use the preamp. But a lot of times it could just take any amp, including a great amp, because the amps I have in New York are great amps. But if I plug that preamp into it, it just enhances it. And I actually have 3 of those. And if I plug 2 of them, two of them are quite different preamps. So if I use 2 preamps in front of any amp, it's even better. Just like the more you put them in front of or in back of each other, they can improve the sound dramatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a boutique preamp built especially for you?
It's a guy in California. His name is Doug Roccaforte.
Okay.
Yeah, and he makes everything by hand. Now he used to make amps, a lot of amps, but now he's just doing preamps and pedals. But all his preamps are just amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So the album you were talking is the one called For Those Who Do, right? Yeah.
It's called 3 for 3. Yeah, but for Those Who Do is a song that's on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where my mistake was coming from. So for this album, it was just standards, no composition from you.
Yeah, it's standards in the sense that I didn't write any of them, and they are, at least to me, they're well-known compositions.
Okay.
They're not like the everyday jazz standards, but they're definitely like some iconic compositions.
Okay.
Yeah. And also from the Brazilian music genre as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the idea? The idea was to pick up some interesting existing composition and put your mark on it?
Yeah, that, I've always felt like, one aspect of my playing is playing my own compositions and playing with other musicians who play their own compositions. But, jazz has always had this history with performing standards. I mean, music that's known to everyone, at least everyone that listens to jazz, hopefully, and putting your stamp on it, and just it's still to me like something that's super interesting to listen to. Just I really love to hear my favorite players just play really familiar material, because it kind of shows you just how unique they are.
When you write something for you, do you have a specific method when you write, or do you start with a melody, chord progression? How do you do it?
It all happens pretty much at the same time.
Okay.
So I've always explained it like if you just sat in a room with me for, a month or something and watched me write a tune, it would come out like a printer,
Really?
So
Okay.
from the first bar
That's
to the last bar, everything is done. The chords and melody are written together, so it's just bar by bar. I mean, every now and then the chord progression will get a little bit ahead and the melody will catch up, or the melody will give me an idea and the harmony will catch up, but it's almost pretty much right next to each other, like are on top of each other, that I write it from start to finish. Yeah.
And how do you know that the song is finished?
It
never
just
finished?
when it feels right, I'll play it. I'll play it a lot,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's always sometimes it's a question is, can there be another section? But if the question is, can there be another section, the answer is usually no. There doesn't need to be another section. But it's usually when I feel like I feel like there's still more to make the song a little bit more interesting. And so, but sometimes if it's 12 bars, it's 12 bars. Or 16 bars, it's 16 bars. It sounds great. I like those kind of songs that are very cyclical and keep, it's almost like you don't want to stop playing them, So it's another thing to have long form compositions.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What is exciting for you at the moment in the music world and in the guitar world?
That's a good question.
Nothing exciting?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of exciting stuff,
Yeah.
but just the most exciting for me is always just playing my music and touring with the guys I really love to play with. I'm going to Asia with my band in August. That's the first big tour I'm doing in Asia with my band. I've always gone there and did like maybe only Japan or only Korea or only China or something like this, but this is going to be Japan, China, and Hong Kong, and all my gigs and bigger venues, because I've always done like some big festivals there, but like when I tour, it's usually smaller clubs. So this is going to be all nice venues, and so yeah.
And do you have some different reaction depending on the country where you are playing?
Yeah, I mean, people will react in a lot of different ways. So I would say, Japan has always been a place I love playing.
Yeah.
You really feel the love from the audience, and Korea too. Korea's probably one of the most excited audiences to
Really?
see
Okay.
any band. Yeah. In certain places, sometimes it just depends on the venue. Sometimes I've been to countries where I thought like every venue, doesn't matter where you play in this country, it's this audience is like very cold and not into the music. But then you play at a smaller club in the same city, and the audience is incredible. It's like a younger, more energetic audience. So you never know. A lot of times it's the venue itself that gives the energy. Yeah.
Where do you think the guitar playing is going to be in 5 or 10 years? Do you think it's going to evolve even more? Are there anything left to invent in the guitar playing?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of things are getting mixed, like the genres. I don't think fusion is going to come back, but I think that more that kind of jazz language is still going to be played with more sounds coming from alternative rock and hip hop and things like that, more than it. I feel like the fusion days it was more rock, like a lot of. It was more like the language
Technical
from
stuff,
technical stuff, like soloing was rock, the guitar sound was rock, but not the whole entire band sound. It was also a different kind of rock. It was like 70s Zeppelin and Hendrix, and today it's like Radiohead and Blonde Redhead and Tom York and all those kind of bands and singer-songwriters. So that's the sound that's really heard today, and as well as hip-hop. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like most of it's just about the drums today. And I don't really feel like guitar or any other instrument is driving the new, at least in the jazz world. It's not really about anything anymore except drums. So everything else is secondary to the drum beat. Which has never really been the case in jazz music. So, but it is today. Yeah.
For a jazz guitar player, you have a pretty big pedal board, so you are not afraid to use different effects and so on.
I think it's small.
Okay.
I mean,
this is a very small version.
I would love to have like another, at least another 2 pedals on there, but it gets tricky. I try to make it as compact as I can. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you approach effects and texture and so on?
I like putting effects on the guitar just to enhance the tone. It's not really about making the guitar sound like a different instrument. So I don't like to make it sound like something that it's not. Maybe the craziest thing I'll ever use is a harmonizer, but like everything else on there is just reverb and delay and overdrive, really. And really subtle overdrive. It's very rare that in this band actually I use more gain than usual on a couple of songs, but it's usually just little things to make the sound clearer. Yeah. And
you have a whammy pedal too. That's not so common for jazz players.
Yeah, so that's like a a harmonizer.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's because I was playing with this pedal in the session with Kendrick for the last album, and he liked a lot of the sounds and some of the stuff that I was doing with it, and we wrote a tune just with that.
Okay.
And so then we play that song, so I have to have it with me. So it's a big pedal. It's like a third of the size of my pedal board. So I have to carry that thing around with the pedal board just to play like one song and one intro. Yeah.
Do you have any interesting road stories to share? Funny stories, which happened to you right before you went on stage or things like that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that's happened right before going on stage. I mean, I've dropped my guitar where it's completely broken, cracked.
Okay.
Yeah, that's happened definitely once, where it was just like a 7-inch crack in the face of the guitar. I've dropped it to where the strap just let go of the guitar, and luckily nothing breaks. But just like you're walking out on stage, it's happened in front of the audience, where in a big hall, you walk out on stage and people are clapping and the guitar just falls straight onto the stage. But luckily it didn't break. That's the great thing about these Marchionis. It's just they're almost indestructible. I mean, I've been in recording sessions where I put a 335 Gibson on a guitar stand and it fell over. Boom. So I mean, you got to go take it to a repair shop, because it'll just almost the headstock almost broke off and the tuning pegs flew off everywhere, and it was just like complete repair job. We had to stop recording for 2 hours while I ran and got my guitar fixed. Luckily I found somebody that could do it. But it's always involving the actual guitar, like trying to get on the plane with the guitar and having arguments. But now it's pretty cool the last few years, because I only fly with one airline, and that's really the secret to flying with a guitar. It's either you got to check it all the time and just hope that it doesn't break, or you got to fly with the same airline all the time, to where you get a high status to where they just never say anything about your guitar.
So you get to take your guitar with you all the time?
Yeah. So I either take it on the plane or I hand it. Now I have a flight case that I'll hand to them at the gate.
Okay.
And then they give it right back. As soon as you land, they're waiting to give you the guitar. So it doesn't go through the belt, like the other luggage, That's really the main thing, is like, So I have flight case, but it's just, I don't want it to get lost. That's really why I don't check it, But all of the crazy stories usually involve something with the guitar and traveling. I've left my guitar on a train in Norway. Like where you fall asleep and the band wakes you up, you're like, we're at the stop, and everybody grabs their luggage and we run off the train, and someone's like, where's your guitar? you know, and yeah, I almost missed a gig once because I had to wait an hour and a half for the train to come back around.
And you found the guitar?
Yeah, luckily we're in Norway, and you can't even buy a bowl of soup with the money you'd get for a guitar. So that was the best country to lose something, you know. Yeah. If we were in another country, I would have never seen that guitar again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tell me what's special for you about the Marchione guitars?
Well, one is I get to. I had some input on this guitar when it was being made. So when he was building this model, this semi-hollow model, we were writing each other back and forth on some ideas of what it could be. I mean, they're all his designs, of course. I'm not a guitar designer, but I was telling him what I like in a guitar, and you know, he used that and build a guitar in his style with what I like.
What was the specific input, for example, you gave?
I mean, for me, I just said it could aesthetically look however you want it to look, but I want a thin body with 335. Okay. Basically, I want a souped up, awesome, badass 335. Okay. You know, so the measurements have to be all the same. It needs to be a dual pickup with with the same electronic setup as a 335. I was telling him I wanted a mid-rangey guitar, and stuff like that, and I wanted it smaller than a 335 even, and lighter. He told me it was going to be lighter, but I was like, yeah, as light as it can be, because I was already having like shoulder problems and back problems on the road, you know. So this guitar is the lightest guitar I've ever picked up for a 335 type guitar. Yeah. I mean, it weighs nothing, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mike, it was great to have you on the show. So tell me, what are your next projects for 2019 before we finish?
The next thing I'm doing, I'm going to Europe with Jochen Ruckert.
Okay.
And then, yeah, my band, and then some stuff with Ben Wendell in the fall. And then recording this new project I have. So the new quartet, electric quartet, we'll be recording this year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It was great to have you on the show, Mike, so thank you again, and I hope next time we will be able to do something in Paris. You will come to my showroom and you will do something guitar in hand, okay?
I think I'll be there in August. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.